Hello, and thanks again for joining us for another Fathom Live, a live stream show dedicated to giving you tips and insights from experts in and around the real estate industry. I'm your host, Jeff Sturtz, and man, do we have an expert today. Back with us today is our good friend, David Knox. David, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Good to see you. Good to be part of Fathom.
Yeah, well, and David, you've been part of Fathom for a long time, from almost the very beginning, helping us out by providing real estate training by davidknox.com to all of our agents with hundreds of videos and training courses that...
That's correct. It started with... sorry,
No,
a lag in the audio.
No,
there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I started off, you guys had about 25 agents, so I've watched you grow quite a bit.
Wow. So there you are, and David's come and has spoken at different events and has been on the show before. If you've got questions, he's got answers. So he's got things to share. So feel free. This is a two-way conversation, both obviously between me and David, but also online. So if you're on the Fathom Facebook page, or if you're watching via YouTube, feel free to shout out. Shout out anything, but then give us your questions and comments, and if we use them on the show, it actually automatically enters you into a drawing multiple times. If you give any sort of shout out, like Carell or Brittany or Anna or Kelly or David or many others have already, that enters you into a drawing. But if you comment or ask a question that we use in the show, it enters you multiple times, which gives you better chances. So make sure that you're doing that. But yeah, ask questions. One of the things that we wanted to kind of throw out there as sort of a starter, we recognize that it is a low inventory market, that folks are having a hard time getting listings. But we'd love to know, how are you getting listings? How is it working for you as an agent? As well as what are your biggest challenges in getting listings? Because today we're going to be talking about how to get listings from your sphere and good excuses to call them. So I'm looking forward to that. But if you have some ideas or things that you want to share in regards to that, please start commenting. Our sponsor today is Go Social Agent, offering effective and affordable social media solutions to help agents grow their business, including getting your account set up, automated postings, agent-branded articles, buyer and seller handbooks, Facebook ad campaigns, and more. They partner with Houseopedia to provide you really great content, relevant, current, great articles for your sphere of influence and your social media. It's all to help you grow your online community and generate leads, and you can learn more at GoSocialAgent.com. Go ahead and smash that notification bell or that subscription bell if you haven't yet on YouTube. And you can check out last week's show with Jen Herman, did a fabulous job. And then next week, or not next week, but in a couple of weeks, we're going to have Aziz Shabazz, one of our very own district directors, on. So looking forward to that. All right, all that aside, David, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk, obviously, in a market like this, is finding ways to get listings. Obviously, one of the most challenging times I've seen. I got to be very careful. One of the most unique times I've seen in the history of real estate, since the day I got into it 50 whatever years ago, listings have always been the fundamental basis of the industry. It always has. And the agents who work primarily with listings are always the ones that are happier, more successful. Working with buyers is incredibly joyful and wonderful, introducing people. But in terms of the long-term stability, listings is where it is. And never more than right now in this market, that becomes kind of the only thing you can really do.
Very good. So probably a lot of questions, the question on a lot of people's minds is, where do I get listings at this point? I mean, people are hesitant to sell their house because then they have to find a house, and there's, because of low inventory, they might sell and have a really hard time getting an accepted offer on a house. So what are ways that people can reach out to their sphere of influence and get some listings?
Well, it's a great question. And I quote Marky Lemons-Ryle, who is, speaking of social media, I feature Marky in our online training quite a bit. And she does things on Facebook Live and quite a few other things. And I saw her Facebook post the other day, and she said, "We do not have an inventory shortage. We have a listing shortage." And yes, it's a play on words, but her point is there's plenty of property out there. The challenge is that owners are reluctant to move. So how do we create some of those opportunities? So I thought I'd just share the screen for a second and take you to opening slide. Obviously, if you work with listings, you control the market. If you work with buyers, they control you. And in a market like this, you take buyers out, and take them out, show them 5, 10, 20, 30, however many homes, or market like this, 2 or 3. And finally, you find them a home, they write an offer, and you're one of many. And at the end, you lose. And you've got 2 downsides. Number 1, you've got an unhappy buyer. Number 2, you didn't get paid. And the one person who wins every multiple offer situation is the listing agent. So clearly, that's where you want to be. So how do we create some opportunities? I was talking with Rob Levy, one of the guys that we feature in our training, and it's great to know that you have a provider of social media. So for all of you, take advantage of that service, because your time is best spent interacting directly with buyers and sellers. And if you can farm out your social media to somebody else, it's a good use of your time. But Rob says, Facebook, it's free, but the clients have to be ready now. He likes, Google AdWords clicks. He says it's expensive, but you can target your leads. And he's found out that it's about a $45 per lead is what his amounts to in his profitability. Wow. And about a 7% conversion.
That's pretty good.
Another guy named Jerry Pincus does YouTube videos, as does Sam Miller. And what Jerry Pincus does is every few days he'll put out a YouTube video, 1 or 2, something on the market, post it. You can do Facebook Live, just Facebook video. Obviously, you guys are on Facebook now. It's an opportunity to get out in your market and give messages. Keeping Current matters. A guy named Steve Harney. I have no connection with him in terms of marketing other than I know him and I respect what he does. But keepingcurrentmatters.com, I think, it is his website. And I think if you subscribe, you can take his slides and use them in a Facebook presentation. Sam Miller, another guy we feature, he does a great social media video. He calls it 2 Minutes on Tuesday. And he'll go live, because Facebook Live always comes to the top. And he will cite, 4 or 5 different buyers he's working with and say, anybody watching this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 buyers I'm working with and what they're looking for. And if any of you listening have a property that meets those needs and you're considering moving, let me know.
Very cool idea.
Yeah, he gets leads from it quite a bit. People direct message, just say, I got first buyers looking for between 350 and 400, 1 level, 3 bedrooms, non-smoking, whatever, he'll describe. And they're real. You don't want to make this up.
Yeah.
Obviously.
No.
And that would be no good. We're realtors, the code of ethics. And then he gets, people messaging him. Next, I would direct all of you at Fathom Realty to go to KFT 120, Knox First Tuesday, number 120. Sorry, you guys, I'm getting over some laryngitis.
Hey, no worries. No, hey, just a little pause so people can actually take notes on all this stuff. So okay, no worries. Yeah, keep going.
All right.
Actually, well, I will mention, because you brought it up, Anthony Eddington commented on YouTube. He said, is it a good thing to invest in using Facebook to generate leads? If so, is there a recommendation regarding vendors other than Facebook? I think it's just saying generally online, ads to get leads. And you mentioned Google was a way that that gentleman was getting leads.
Yeah, he goes to Google and buys their AdWords, and you can target certain things and post. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail on it. I think Marky Lemons Royale gets into it. They have changed the targeting on Facebook because of fair housing, and rightly so. So anything you do on Facebook has to be in conjunction with fair housing and how you target things like that. But Rob Levy, like he says, he likes Facebook because it's free, but the people have to be ready to move, buy or sell right now. But still, use it. And then the Google AdWords, where you can post ads. We do that for our training. And we'll spend a monthly amount to put that out there. We get people doing our free trials. But if you want content to promote, I'll just, let's see, can you see the website?
Yes,
the website?
We can, yep.
If you go to the Fathom site, log in with your username and a password. Are you guys going through the intranet?
They can do that via Fathom Wiki. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, David, not everybody that's watching is a Fathom agent. So, this is, I guess, a little ad for Fathom at this point, that you get all this stuff for free when you join. But otherwise, if they're a non-Fathom agent, they can still go to realestatetrainingbyddavidknox.com. Correct.
Yeah, but they'd have to buy a subscription, and we don't sell to agents.
Gotcha.
We only sell to companies. So you really got to be with the company that subscribes to our training.
Okay.
So, and as I say, Josh Harley subscribed since he was at 25 agents up to whatever you are now. So it's been a fun ride to watch him. But yeah, when you log into the training, the video at the top of the list will always be the what's new for the current month. It's usually pretty short. We throw out a few quick tips. Our latest video is KFT 147, multiply your listing. And by the way, I guess while I'm here, once you have a listing, it's your ticket into the neighborhood. And this will take you through just some fundamental things to do when you have a listing. There's a little checklist in there to make sure that as soon as you get a listing, I guess the checklist is it's in Microsoft Word, so you can adjust it. But getting out your just listed cards, door knocking around your listing, promoting a neighbors only open house, conducting the open house, and following up with just sold cards. It should be embarrassing for you to get one listing and then two more come up in the same neighborhood with a competitor. Come on. You should be able to go, you should be able to talk to those people.
Take advantage of your foot being in the door.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm just going to stop screen share. True story. When I listed my home in Eden Prairie, Minnesota back in 2011, while I was on the market, two of my neighbors came to visit me. One of them, named Nikki, said, "Hey, David, I'm going to miss you in the neighborhood." And I say, "Yeah, Nikki, what are you going to do?" And she said, "Well, this home is too big for me and Joey. Her husband had sadly passed away. Two kids are off to school, one left." And she said, "So I'm probably going to sell this fall as well." And I went, "Oh, okay. Well, I wish you the best." Across the street, Marvin Stephanie. Steph called me up and said, "Hey, what would I need to do to my kitchen to make our home more marketable?" Because we're thinking of moving to Palm Desert in the fall. I said, and I gave her some ideas. Well, within the next 2, 3, 4 months, Nikki listed and sold. Marvin Steph listed and sold. Neither of them used my realtor. And just sad. And I probably should have done more to make sure they talked to my realtor, but that's not my job.
Right.
I had my realtor just knocked on 3 doors, left, right, and across the street. Two out of 3 of them listed with a realtor and sold through a realtor. And I'm pretty sure, because my she's a good realtor, I think she would have gotten them. So it's such a horrible, horrible waste to have a listing and not be able to get more. So that one of my main ways to create it.
Somebody asked a question here, and I know this isn't like the subject matter necessarily for today, but they at least they're expressing the frustration of getting somebody to accept your buyer's offer when they make an offer. And I know that's a whole nother we could do a whole nother episode on that. But any quick tips on that? How to get your offer accepted?
First things come to mind if you're going to work with buyers. Just think of the letters M and E: motivation, expectation. And you sit down with a buyer and say, "Do you really, really, really want to buy now?" They'll say, "Well, why do you ask?" Because this is going to be one of the most challenging markets in which you will ever buy in our history. The good news is they got the lowest rates in the history of the planet.
Right.
So it's a great time to buy. So we get that. But the flip side of it is you're going to be competing with everybody else that wants a shortage of inventory. And you're going to be very much in a competition, and it's going to feel like you are in an auction situation like they do in Australia. So just let me reconfirm, you guys definitely want to buy. Yes, we do. Okay, then now E, expectations. There's not going to be a lot of homes on the market. I'll get to them as fast as I can. And if I find a home that's on the market, I'm going to ask that you be ready to go like right away. In fact, keep your wallet with you at all times. So now you can see the preparations. And when we find a home, I'm going to try to get you into it right away. And while you're in the home, I know I may sound pushy, but I want you to just tell me yes or no. If the answer is no, then good. We'll forget about it.
Yep.
If you like the house, then we need to really think about it, because the next step is when you write an offer on the property. A lot of buyers say, "Well, I don't want to pay full price for anything." Well, my answer to that is, don't worry, you won't. It's going to be more.
It's going to be higher than that. Yep.
And be careful. Don't be too flippant with them. But homes typically are going to go for over asking price, and you can show them some actual statistics in their price range. List X, sell Y. List X, sell Y, and said this is what's happening. So you're going to be in competition, and there's a fairly good chance that you may not get the property, and we'll have to go find another one. So far, how are you feeling? Oh, boy, that sounds kind of painful. Yes, it is. Do you still want to buy? Yeah, we hate the place we're in now, so we hate that more. Okay, good. Motivation. And then when they find a home that they like, the big question is going to be, how much should we offer? and this is critical that you do not answer that question with a number, because there's no right answer to that question. So the advice would be, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, the asking price in this home is $500,000. There's a very good likelihood that it's going to sell for more, but I don't know for how much more. So my suggestion is the number would be, I know they'll take at least 500, that's the asking price. And if you really want to ensure that you get the property, we're going to have to clean up your offer. The first thing is, if you want to offer over full price, that's going to improve your likelihood. In terms of what number should it be, I'm going to suggest you offer a no regret price. A no regret price means that if you make an offer of a number and you lose, and I tell you what it did sell for, and you say, oh, we would have
done that. Right.
We would have done that. No, 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 no. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear you say, oh gosh, we would have never gone that high.
Right.
And then you have no regrets and we can move on to something else. And then you can talk to them about the fundamentals, cleaning it up, contingencies, inspections, and appraisals, and big earnest money, and no personal property, and all that. Now, some of the buyers today are doing things that could get you in trouble if you advise them to do it. And if you tell them to waive an inspection or waive an appraisal, I'd almost want to turn it over to your local broker to ask that question, because I don't want to get Fathom Realty in trouble. But there are consumer protections that some buyers are choosing to waive. And I guess if you're going to go 50,000 over on a property, do you really care that the inspection would have uncovered $5,000 worth of repairs? Right. Who cares? You're already over 50 grand. And for the waiving the appraisal, you've got to be willing to make up the difference in cash. And you've really got to have this heart-to-heart talk with them, because by the time they find a home, it's too late to do this.
Right. Right. There's not enough time. So big part of this, and this is all getting your buyer prepped for it. And as far as making that offer, there's a monetary aspect of it. I've heard some people, they'll write a real nice letter with their family picture on it, and their local sports team, jerseys that you're wearing, those kind of things. Any
By
other?
the way,
yeah, go ahead.
A caution on that letter. First of all, it's a good idea. Very, very dear friend of mine, a guy named Jerry Kleckner, was part of a multiple offer on a property in Minneapolis area. And he was not the highest offer, but he won anyway, because he wrote a letter to the seller saying, Joyce and I are buying your home to come out of a townhouse into a home where we can get back into gardening, and we're really kind of buying your gardens. We love your gardens. We want to take really good care. And apparently the owner of the home said to the son, find somebody that will take care of our garden. So that worked. That's how he got it.
Yeah.
But you've got to be so careful. Picture the family. Anything that could smack of any violation of fair housing will get you into more trouble.
Gotcha.
The latest advice I heard from RAS Media, an article, is it's like the agent, we don't even want to know about it. If you're going to write a letter to the seller, you write one. I don't even want to know about it, see it, or anything. But you've really, really got to be careful in today's day and age. And, we talk about implicit bias, where people, deep down they're not biased, but it's in there and you don't even know about it. And maybe you respond to it in such a way where it harms the buyer. So it's a good idea.
Cautious with that.
Be cautious with it.
Yeah. Thank you. Good advice. Somebody
and one other thing.
Yeah.
The biggest fear sellers have today is that they're going to sell without having a place to buy, and I'm going to talk about how to deal with that. But buyers today, I'm hearing lots of stories where the buyers say, "We want to buy your home. You stay in there for as long as you want, up until some length of time." And I heard somebody say, we'll even mow the lawn for you, or, crazy stuff. Because the buyers just want to lock in the house. They'd rather own it today and move in 3 months.
3 months, right.
At all. Right. And by the way, that's where you can do a buyer letter. You can say, on our purchase agreement, we indicated a closing date of the 31st of July. However, we are flexible with our current situation, and we could go as late as September 30th. So, things like that.
Gives them flexibility then to find their own place, as well as getting, their life together on their way out. Somebody asked, I thought this was a really great follow-up. Tracy Gonzalez said, when you knock on the door to a neighbor of a seller client, what do you say?
Good question. First of all, be dressed up. Look like a professional realtor. I get that we've got casual Fridays in America, and I get it. I love jeans and T-shirts. I love that. But if I'm going to knock on a door, I want to dress up, whatever that is for your community. I would have something with the Fathom Realty logo on it. Ideally, it would have been the just listed card that you set out recently. but anything so they know who you are. You might also have a note on a clipboard in big 72-point type to hold up to their Ring doorbell, because everybody's got Arlo and Ring and all these things, and they're looking at their video. So kind of be prepared for that. But when I get to the door, I want to walk up, stand a little ways away. You don't want to give them the bum's rush, and maybe you hold up something. And if they do answer the door, if they come through the speaker, say, hey, I'm David Knox with Fathom Realty, and this is a courtesy call because I'm the listing agent on Tom and Susie's home 2 doors down from you. It's a courtesy call to see if you might have any questions on the property, and I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Courtesy. That's nice. And they just might. And then you say, have a nice day.
Yeah, and they might do, some are going to come. Who knows? You don't know it. At least you knocked on the door, you came by, and if they do respond, they might say, oh, thanks very much. Yeah, we were wondering what the asking price was. And you can tell them the price, tell them everything else. And if they come to the door and you can have a conversation, just smile, have some fun. Thank you very much for coming to the door. Frankly, I'm so happy to see a real person the way our last year's been going. So thank you so much. I just want to let you know this home just came on the market, and we know neighbors love to know about their neighbor's home. So just what questions do you have? Yeah, how much do they ask? What do you think they'll get for it, et cetera? So right now in this market, they'll probably get that for it. By the way, how do you guys plan to stay in your home? Now, the 2 questions I would like to ask, and you may not always be able to do it, but if I could, I might say, by the way, how long have you guys lived here? And they'll tell you, and then say, how much longer do you think you'll stay here? They might say, funny you should ask. Tom and I are thinking about moving, and that's why we wanted to find out. And the third question, and again, I get it. People listening go, yeah, right, good luck. I don't even have time to say my name before they close the door. Well, there are those. But if you do have some rapport, Saturday afternoons, you're walking around their yard working anyway, it's easier. And just say, I'm just curious, I've got some buyers desperate to find a home, and I'm doing their work for them. And I'm curious, of all of the neighbors, if you had to guess, who do you think might be the next to make a move?
Right.
And a lot of the neighbors.
I mean, right now, I can think of people that, they probably aren't going to be there that long. They might be looking to sell. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. So you might find out that way. In fact, our video KFT 66, Knox First Tuesday number 66, parts 1 and 2. In fact, what the heck? I'll just do a quick share screen. And right here, KFT 66. This was shot a few years ago, but you can see it's still in the 4:3 aspect ratio. But we follow this guy around, and he knocks on the doors, and you'll hear both sides of the conversation. And he ends up with a couple of leads out of it. And I said, how did you feel about doing that? And he said, oh, I hate knocking on doors. He said, but having done it just now, it reminds me that's how I got started in the business, and I got to get back and do it again. So, but her question was a good question.
So you wanted to talk about, getting more listings through your sphere, but also you said that you wanted to chat about helping convince your seller that they can sell and find another house. So I don't know which one of those you want to jump into first.
Let's do that one right here. Knox First Tuesday number 120. How do we list without a place to buy? I don't know how long the video is, 10, 12 minutes. Anyway, it basically begs the question. You sit down with your owners and back to motivations. Would you like to sell? Yeah, we'd like to sell, but we may not find a place to buy.
Right.
We understand that. It's a very legitimate concern, and a lot of people express that. But let me ask you this question. How badly would you like to get out of this home? We'd love to get out of it. We have 16 children and 1 bathroom. It's really a pain. So we really need to get out of here. Okay. If you were really interested in getting out of here, I would like to share with you a plan that may or may not work for you. If it doesn't work, then fine, but it's worked for a lot of people. And then you ask them the question, what outcome is more challenging for you, owning 2 homes or owning 0 homes? Because it's axiomatic, one of the 2 are the extremes. So 2, well, I suppose 2 would be better. Well, could you afford 2 payments, 2 maintenance, 2 everything? No, I guess we couldn't. Well, how about owning 0? You mean we'd be homeless? Yes, but let's define what homeless is. Are you really literally homeless out on the street?
Right.
Okay. Here's what you would be. It's called maybe making a double move. And then you can take them through the fact that the buyers might, and they say, how long do you think it would take you to find another home? Well, I don't know. Might take us 6 months. Okay, 6 months. In fact, let's get on the MLS and look for the kind of home you wanted to buy. Are there any on the market? Nope, 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 nope. Let's see if any sold. Here's one that sold a month ago. Here's another one 3 weeks ago. And then you can say, 3 of them have come on the market in the last 3 months. And they go, oh, wow. Okay, so let's say 6 months. We might be able to get the buyer that will let you stay in the home for 3 months. And then where would you stay for the next 3? Would you stay with your parents? No way. I don't even want to drive by my parents' house. And then you talk to them about, okay, maybe you move into a hotel and you pay for a double move. $5,000 out, $5,000 in, $5,000 a month. You got $25,000 in a double move. You just made $50,000 more in the home you're in. Of course, you're paying more for the home you're buying too, but you're out of this house into another one. And if you put it in dollars and cents, then I go back to Harvey McKay, wrote a couple of books, and he said, if you can buy your way out of a problem, you haven't got a problem. So rather than dealing with the emotion of, oh, we have no place to live, it's like for $30,000, you can make the move. And out of the $30,000, 25 of it comes out of your fact you sold your home for more. So that's what KFT addresses. And at the end, there's a little script you can put on Facebook that you can do a Facebook Live and say, by the way, one of the questions I get is we'd love to sell, but we're so concerned about having a place to go. Well, we at Fathom Realty have some ideas on how to do this. And then you can do a Facebook Live. Yeah.
I think you may have answered this question. But Alice said in this context, here's a question, that she would get from a seller. We are thinking to sell, but the way things are going right now, I'm not concerned I'll ever find the house of my choice. But you're saying, hey, I can demonstrate to you they're selling, they're out there. We just kind of have to get prepped and wait for that house to come on the market and then be ready to buy it. Is that?
Yeah, I would always start, and I would concede the seller's support and say, Mr. Seller, you haven't told me what you're looking for, so I don't know. You might be right. It might be that what you're looking for
just doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. But so let's first of all sit down and tell me and do a buyer counseling interview. Price, terms, everything, and say, what do you want? Well, I'm just going to go on the MLS. First of all, I'll search for what's on the market. Nothing. Okay, let's search for solds. And you get all the solds, and so would any of these met your needs? And they might go, that one would have. Okay, well, that was 2.5 months ago. And maybe there's another, and just say.
So at least say that they're moving, they're just not like this minute available.
Yeah, it's like looking for a parking spot in a busy mall.
Right.
When you first drive into the mall, you go, oh, there's no parking places here. But if you stand back and I don't know if you ever, you park your car and you sit there and you look at, well, hey, the pole position opened up, that opened up, this opened up. Pretty soon, my gosh, they're moving all the time.
Right.
But if you just do a snapshot of a parking lot, it's like, oh, there's no place for me.
Right.
The other thing that I think everybody knows, when the student is ready, the master appears. Or another way, when your car breaks down, you find another car pretty quickly. If your car, and if you can't find another car, what do? You rent one. You go to Hertz and say, I want a 3-month rental until you get the car you want. So if you really want to move, there's ways to make it happen.
Very good. So I know we're way into the time here, but sphere of influence. How do I get some leads from my sphere of influence?
Well, first of all, you have to have a telephone, verbal conversation with them.
You mean like I actually pick up the phone and call somebody?
Yeah, you got to have a two-way conversation. So
I don't think we can do that. I think we're. And
you're right. That wipes out 95% of agents. Right there, they go, well, okay, next technique. You have anything else? And when I ask agents, why don't you want to talk to your sphere of influence? Some say, well, I just don't like cold calling. Well, you're not cold calling, you're warm calling. They say, I don't know what to say. I don't want to bother people. I don't want to sell them something.
Right.
I feel like a multi-level marketer, and I don't really have any good dialogue, or it's been 5 years since I've talked to them. All of those, by the way, are absolutely legitimate reasons for resisting. I get it. So first of all, they're not cold calls or warm calls. If you, instead of selling, I'm going to go through some ways that you're giving instead of selling, you'll feel comfortable with. If you haven't talked to them in 4 years or 5 years, just wait till next year, then it'll be 6. And then we'll do this video again, and then and I'll say wait till next year, and pretty soon everybody dies, and that takes care of it. So what I'm going to do is overcome the objections that agents have to calling their sphere of influence. And so we'll talk about 5 good reasons to call. First, there's 2 ways to spend your time in real estate: building familiarity or doing direct prospecting. And familiarity is expensive. It's one way. It's passive. It's important to do, Familiarity falls into social media, billboards, bus benches, just listed card, just sold cards, all that stuff is building familiarity, and you should have a systematic way of getting your name and face in front of people. However, the next step is to be face-to-face, phone-to-phone, Zoom to Zoom with them. So sending out a just listed card is a great idea, but even a better idea is to send it out and then knock on the door and say, did you get this card? I'm here as a courtesy call to see if you have any questions on it. And, we talked about some of the reasons why people don't contact their sphere of influence. But I want to show you, I don't know if you guys know Matt Ferrara, speaker in the real estate industry, a good friend of mine. I saw a Facebook post of his the other day, and I asked his permission to use it, and he said, sure. So I'll just read this to you. Somebody was writing to Matt, and he said, our realtor has never checked in with us, and we've decided the next time we go sell, we won't use him. Funny thing is, he bombards us with mailings and advertisements every week, but he's never picked up the phone to check on us personally. So if you take a look at direct prospecting versus familiarity, the checked in with us is direct. The mailings, advertisements every week are familiarity. And you need to do both. So let's talk about the 5 ways to contact your sphere of influence. Thank, invite, inform, customer survey, and vendor resource. So number 1, thank. Get into your database. Of course, we assume you all have a database. And go through all of everybody in your sphere of influence, and isolate your past customers and anybody who's referred business to you, and call them up and thank them for their business. Now, if you're a new agent, I guess you can't thank people for their business. They haven't done business with you. So this is obviously something for more experienced agents with a book of business. But this woman who sold my house, I hadn't heard from her in 7 years. And somebody asked for a referral, said, hey, how was your realtor? She was great. Do you think I should work with her? I said, absolutely, you should work with her. And my employee said, what's her name? And I said, her name is, and I honestly didn't remember that. In fact, Quick Tip 55, I just reshot it the other day. Quick Tip 55 tells the story of, honestly, I could not remember the name of my realtor. And I had to go find the purchase agreement folder, scroll to the bottom, find her name, and I went, oh my gosh, sure, Heidi. And then I found her email, and I replied to an old email. And then I asked her this question. Here's an embarrassing question that shows how bad your familiarity building is. I asked her the question, are you still in the real estate business? If any of you get that question, you know your marketing stinks.
Uh-oh, yeah.
And she emailed back kind of sheepishly, thanks for the extra effort in finding me. Yes, I'm still in the real estate business. I'm still trying to find a way to contact my past customers and clients. I go, do you think maybe as good a skywriting, a text, a call, a pop in, drop by, anything other than nothing. So if all you do is call your past clients, you want the thank you call to be two-way if you can. So pick evenings, weekends when you're most likely to reach them. If you don't reach them, I guess might as well leave a voicemail. I already know you called, and just say, hey, thank you for your business.
Yeah.
And they will probably come back and say, oh, it's good to hear from you. Thank you. You did a great job for us. You know, and then they'll probably say, how are you? How's the market? So
there you go. Yeah. Yep. I've got, a lot of homes that we can sell you, or hey, are you looking to list again? Because great time. If you've checked your Zillow price or whatever else, it's probably a lot higher than when I sold it to you. Yada, yada, yada. Open door for an opportunity.
I like that twist on it because one of the concerns is people are listening now. Well, if on a thank you call, should I ask them for business? If you don't want to, don't do that.
Sure.
You can just keep it as a pure thank you call. And if they turn it into a business call, then you have permission.
Right.
But another thing that you could do if you really, really, really want to go to town on this, before you call them, go back and review the property and maybe check and see what you think the current value is. And I call them and say, hey, thank you for your business. When you guys bought from me, I think it was 7 years ago now, you were one of my first buyers. And I'm just happy to know at that time you paid $339, and we're seeing properties in there going for, $480 right now. Really? Yeah. So you made a great investment.
Yeah.
$480. Wow. Do you think we could get that now? Well, somewhere in that range. Obviously, I have to do a market analysis. Why do you ask? Well, because we're actually thinking about buying up. From that point, everybody gets. Number 2 is to invite. This is far more difficult, especially with COVID, because you need to have an event to which to invite them. A realtor here in Mission Hills Country Club has a back to season party at the Mission Hills Country Club last November. Obviously, with COVID in California, you couldn't even be alone with yourself in your own house, according to Governor Newsom. So he couldn't do the party.
Right.
But he still sent out an invitation and said, we can't do the party, but I still want to honor you and thank you for your business over the years. If you're in the desert between November 17 and 25, RSVP, and I'll set up a time to drive by the country club overhang front gate, and we'll hand you a pecan pie or a pumpkin pie. So the key on event marketing is not the event, it's the invitation. Giving you an excuse to call people, partnering with a charitable event in your community, right, or a hot dog barbecue at your office parking lot, inviting people, or any number of things. So for those of you who are social people and kind of like to party, this is a great way to invite people to things. The third would be a simple informing call. Put together a 12-second voicemail and blast out a couple a day and just say, hey, Jim, this is David Knox. I just want to say, hey, I got to take a breath. Hey, Jeff, this is David Knox, 612-590-8955. I'm calling to let you know the market here has done something we haven't seen happen in nearly 50 years. It directly affects your home. And if you'd like to hear more about it, please give me a call. Here's my number again. Ready? 612-590-8955. So you open and close with their number so they've got it. And then go to the next, and fire out a few calls.
Very good. So invite,
inform. And the next one would be a customer survey. And I'm not, again, this takes a little bit more time, but I'm going to go to the site. If you look for KFT 63, become a valuable resource through a customer survey. We actually give you a sample customer survey. It's in Microsoft Word, so you can edit it and put in your own logos and everything. And it just says, over the years, there's been many changes in financing regulations, market appraisal. This first paragraph, you'd probably edit now and say, we're in a very unique time with lower interest rates and et cetera. And I'd like to be able to be of service to you. What information would you like? What is your current situation? And then, how much longer do you plan to stay in your current home? Question 4, of all your friends and associates, who do you think would be the next to make a move, and how do you prefer to be contacted? So the idea behind the survey was originally as a way of updating contact information for clients, but it's also a way to stay in touch and be visible. Kelly Moy, a realtor, uses this, gets about a listing or two a month out of that. So customer survey is one thing, and the next one is KFT 97. That is to become a preferred vendor resource. We just reshot this video the other day. And once again, KFT 94 preferred vendor resource list in Microsoft Word, so you can edit it, and it just helps you guys go through and take a look at all the 3 categories: transactional vendors, moving vendors, ownership vendors. And all of you should have this anyway, especially if you've been in the business for a while. You should all have a list of services and get it together. And then you tell these people that they are going to be on a preferred vendor list. And now, to make sure that your referrals don't come back and bite you, you pick people you trust, you respect, that you personally use. You let them know that you're going to refer your customers and clients to them, and what you expect is an immediate response. Take good care of them. Keep me in the loop, and if there's any problems, let me know right away, and we make sure we get it resolved. And again, KFT 97 goes through some of the concerns that people voice.
So would the idea be then, like, let's say I have somebody that does bath and kitchen remodels in my preferred vendor list, and I'm partnering, loosely partnering with that person, and I'm sending them to past clients, but I'm hoping that if in conversation, when they're going to do this remodel, it's because they want to sell the house, or they, that person kind of kicks that back to me and says, hey, or to the client, hey, have you called?
That's the side benefit of it. Sure, if you're referring your clients to these people, they're more likely to refer to you. That's a secondary reason. The primary reason is to get your customers and clients to call you. And the way Bob Wolf, one of the top agents who we feature in here,
Right.
The way he does it, he doesn't give the vendors out willy-nilly. He doesn't send out a list. He
Right.
just lets all of his customers know that he has access to everything from termites to pool cleaning.
Gotcha.
inspection,
Gotcha. Yeah. So if
And
you
he
need any of
trains-
these things, I'm
Yeah,
your guy.
he trains them to call. And I had somebody in a seminar once say, "Gosh, isn't that annoying having all these, kind of nuisance calls coming in?" I go, "Nuisance calls? They're your clients calling you for help. Yeah, they can't sell a home. They only move once every 7 years, whatever the average is. But they need pool service every couple of years. And if they remember to call you for a termite
Right.
inspection, they just might remember to call you when they're ready to move.
Right.
And then they'll tell their friends, et cetera. And Bob, no matter what it is, in fact, I needed an engagement ring, and I called Bob and I said, "Bob, you seem to know everybody. You always know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy."
Right.
And he says, "Yeah, I got a guy." And sure enough, he referred me to a jeweler in Southern California and got the ring from him.
Yeah. And if you don't have a guy, just say, "No, but I'll do some homework for you and get back to you." And then you're the
Well-
guy. Then you have a guy
Yeah, then you got a guy.
or a girl
And I'm not
or
being,
whatever.
I'm not being sexist. I just happen to know the jeweler was a guy.
Yeah.
So all of you should have a list of that anyway. So when people call, you got a list of trusted. And if your list is kind of short because you're new to the business, talk to agents in your office, and can put it in a database Excel
Right.
spreadsheet.
We had an agent on here from Seattle that his whole business was built on that, knowing people. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the guy to call for anything. I mean, obviously, house related would be kind of like the center of that. But I mean, if you need some, I don't remember the gentleman's name off the top of my head. But yeah, you call him. That's the guy. So being that person, kind of your local expert, is awesome. So
Yep.
so thank, invite, inform,
Customer survey and vendor resource.
vendor resource. There you go, man. Great.
Yeah, and so back to conclude the vendor resource, it gives you a reason to call. Say, by the way, whatever, Mr. and Ms. Buyer, just so you know, we know that you can only move about once every 7 years, but we know you always need help relating to your home. So I want you to know we have a list of preferred vendor resources that deal with anything from moving to transactions to home maintenance. And I just want you to know, consider calling me like your yellow pages of whatever, and just say,
Right.
I'd like to be the source.
Awesome.
In fact, you could send out a postcard and say, "I am your source." And then there's a lot of spins you can do to it.
That's awesome. So a lot of homework for our viewers. I mean, those are things that you can do. Today's Wednesday. You could knock out a ton of this stuff by Friday. Get yourself some good habits. Download some of the documents that is on the Real Estate Training by David Knox website, and start generating some leads.
There you go. If you want, I could just do the 6 steps to
Sure, knock them out. Yeah, that'd be great.
lead.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's see which video it is. I think it's KFT 136. Let's see if I remember it right. Yes, 6 steps to converting leads, and one of the worksheets.
You're amazing, David.
Well, lead conversion steps. You can print this card out and tape it to whatever you want. But it just says, and this is how I respond to leads and how I recommend anybody respond to a lead. Number one is to respond, answer the phone. And if you can't, forward your calls to somebody who can do these things. Return a call. If you're doing any kind of online marketing, you got to have an inside associate. But there's some number that says 78% of prospects will do business with the first person that they talk to. And if you answer the phone, you are in that top deal. I remember I needed some carpet cleaning earlier this year, and I thought, oh, am I ever going to find somebody? And I did a Google search on carpet cleaning here in Rancho Mirage, and I just started at the top of the list, dialed the number, and a guy answered the phone. I said, you got my business. You answer the phone. Couldn't believe it. So if it's whether you're calling out or you're responding to an inquiry on a listing or whatever, the next thing to do is to thank. The first nice, sweetest words out of your mouth would be a thank you. Introduce yourself first if you'd like, but say, hey, my name is David Knox. Thank you so much. Or you can say, thank you so much for calling. My name is David Knox. Now we're getting into the wordsmithing of it. You decide. But say, thank you so much for inquiring. We really appreciate you coming by to the open house. We really appreciate you inquiring on one of our listings. Thank you. Good to hear from you. So what attracted you to this home? And then get into some just messing around, questioning, how's your house hunting, and then if you want to prevent somebody from hanging up on you, you can say, if this home doesn't work for you, would you like to know of others? And by the way, this can all be done on text. If that's the first way you deal with these people, respond to the text. And by the way, on a text, you do have to say your name because they don't know who you are. And in a text to say, if this home doesn't work for you, would you like to know of others? By the way, I have another home. It would be a lot easier to tell you verbally. Would it be okay if I called you? So you want to get away from texting as quickly as you can and get into a verbal. And then 4 is to learn. Key questions: how soon would you like to be settled? How long have you been looking? If you found a home today, met your needs, what would you do? And then the next nice thing you can do is just, would you like some help? Would you like some help? How can I help you? And typically when you offer help to a buyer, that's when you'll uncover a relationship with another agent. Now, in a fast-moving market like this, you might jump from step 1 to 5. In other words, somebody calls up on one of your listings and bam, you answer the phone right away. And yeah, we were calling on that listing at such and such, and we're really interested in. Say, great, would you like to see it? When would you like to see it? Could we see it right now? Yes, tell me, how. And then I would certainly get their name and cell so you can check it out with them. And then, actually I just went from step 1 to step 6. So you got to decide what to do. Now, if you go right from 1 to 6, you're going to end up with somebody at the front of a house that can't afford to pay attention, much less buy this house. So use some judgment. But those are the 6 steps that I go through when somebody calls on our training.
All right. Very good, man. Well, there's enough, I think, and then some for folks to take away from this today. So very much appreciate you coming on. Of course, we'd love to have you again at some point in the future. In between now and then, we're having some boots on the ground agents talking about what they're doing. A lot of this kind of stuff, the kind of market update stuff that you've talked and trained about before. We actually just added on our wiki a resource for top and tail for your videos, so it can kind of give this nice little splash, and you come on in a few seconds and say, hey, this is Jeff Sturts with your Wiley, Texas market update. If you're in the Wiley area, here's what's happening, and it's got a little tail that you can either add to Canva or if you've got a video editing software. Yeah. So just a way to kind of be that face and expert in your area. So we're here. We're rooting for you.
What's the name of your sponsor again that's sponsoring this? I just
Go Social Agent.
Go Social Agent. Okay.
Yeah.
I would encourage everyone to check it out. And if somebody's investing in you by sponsoring, check them out.
All righty, David. Well, thank you. We'll let you go and appreciate you giving us a wealth of information.
Any final questions from anybody?
I think you kind of answered them along the way. There's some good comments back and forth. One person said, that they've been able to find leads on Nextdoor. They just advertise on Nextdoor.com and not even paid ads. Just they're all your neighbors. I don't know if you're on Nextdoor.com, but I'm on there a lot, and I don't do it as an agent, but for other things, and it's a great way to stay in front of people as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure there will be there would be more questions here, but I think drinking from a fire hose right now, there's a lot of a lot of takeaways. So
okay, well, just pick 1 or 2 and. You're better off doing one thing well
than
6 things not at all.
That's right. Well, I hope you have safe travels from California back to Minneapolis area here in the coming days, and again, we'll look forward to the next time we have you on here.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure. I value our relationship, and it's an honor to work with you. So thank you.
Same here. All right. For those of you who are still watching, if you haven't checked out fathomcareers.com, be sure to do so. If you're not a Fathom agent, with being a Fathom agent, you get stock, a powerful CRM, truly affordable healthcare. You get a paperless transaction management system, multi-tiered support, marketing resources, and so much more. Our next show, again, is going to be one of our very own district directors who really has taken advantage of social media and done a lot of things to market himself, Aziz Shabazz. So we're looking forward to him being on there. But in the meantime, again, visit fathomcareers.com to learn more about a company that works for you, that gives you the tools and technology for your success. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next show.